kept us more days inside there. It's called the dark room not because it's dark inside, but it's the place where you lose your brain and your brain goes dark, like you don't think about anything anymore. You lose your mind. You start imagining stuff that's not there. Man, there is a certain point I imagine like I'm in heaven, like I've died now. So I started talking to myself. I was like, God, so this is heaven. This is heaven already. Is this heaven? Why am I feeling pain? Tell me, God, am I in hell or heaven? So at this point, I didn't even recognize that there was someone on the fourth day when I was in the dark room. At a certain point, I also imagined myself moving, like I saw myself free, but I was actually still in the same place. Then I started hearing my brothers passing through the same situation, talking to themselves. Others were laughing out loud. Others communicating to their loved ones like, Mommy, how are you? Have you ever been in a place like you were having your last moments on earth? So that was like something happening to everyone inside there.
I've never experienced the kind of pain where I had this out-of-body experience. But somehow it got worse. The man hanging on a hook next to Q was Ethiopian, and Q noticed that this man was kind of wiggling around, trying to get his handcuffs off.
He tried to open these handcuffs to escape, but as he was opening like this, a military guy saw him and told him to stop, but the guy didn't stop, even though the military guy was there. So the military guy started beating him with a stick on the thigh. Then he headed these upper parts, beating him in the chest, telling him to stop. But this guy was like, you guys don't own me. He got them off. He got them off. Trying to stand like this, he couldn't even just take a step to run. So this guy, the military guy, just kept on beating him everywhere. He was joined by more military guys. Then the head of that security department in there came and told them to stop, to put him back on the handcuff. Putting him back on the handcuff, the guy was already fed up of this place, very traumatized. Remember, it's the fourth day in there, so he started shouting, like making a lot of noise. But at some point, I got to hear some words. He was like, let me out of this place, at least I go say bye-bye to my mom, then I come back, you guys kill me. That's something that he asked for. And him saying that is something that I also felt that I would want to, to have at least before I die, like to say goodbye to my family, my loved ones. But these guys, it was actually not possible because we're far from home, but it's something that we longed for, maybe for our last hours on earth, because man, we felt so bad. Imagine no anything you have got to eat for 4 days. Yeah. He was put back on the handcuffs, but he kept on shouting. Then the general himself, he ordered these guys to keep beating him until he keeps quiet. They started beating him on the head. I saw blood coming out of him. Then he eventually stopped shouting. And it is at this moment that I got to know this guy is not alive anymore. I saw him stopping breathing right just besides me like this, because this side he was the Ethiopian, this side was the Ugandan. So this guy on this side asked me, what's happening? I can't hear him anymore. Man, it's tears that came out of my eyes, because this guy was already dead. we froze. Anyone who was trying to plan anything, because we are also trying to plan to imagine we are in a military base, but we're trying to plan to get off those handcuffs and maybe run. But this was like an example to us that you can't do anything inside here.
Eventually, the man's body was removed, but most of the others were too delirious to notice. And in a way, that tragedy of his death was kind of overshadowed by everyone's private pain, the agony in their arms, and of hunger and extreme dehydration.
Like I was telling you before, this place is called the dark room, but it's not actually dark. During day, you are hit by the sun directly, because we was on something like a net around us, so handcuffed on those hooks. So during day from 7 to 6, you are hit by the sun on your body. Man, there is a point I saw my bones. We tried to ask for water because we felt so thirsty, but these guys used to bring a pipe with salt water, which we actually got to know this is their urine, because they used to connect it to some pit hole there, and they used to give us to drink like this. So your testing is when you realize this is urine now. You can't just take it anymore. So this is how badly these guys treated us inside that room.
As Q told me his story, I was wondering how this ordeal felt, especially how it would feel to hang from your arms for just so long. And I know it's morbid, but I was curious, so I asked.
I felt so frozen. I couldn't move even just a muscle like this. There's a point when you can't feel the pain anymore. Blood has stopped working and moving in your body. So these guys actually used to bring a platoon on us and lift your head like this to see if you're just alive. But when you're still breathing, it's alive. But when you're still breathing, it's all good. So he goes on another person to monitor and everything like that. So on the 5th day, I don't even remember if it's the 5th day, but counting the days that I saw the sun is when I saw the Chinese bosses now come to this room. Remember, they are the ones that ordered us to be taken there. So now they come to check on us. They move around. They asked, like they asked me before in that room after me. Like they asked me before in that room after being, electrified and punished. They asked me, are you now willing to work?
Are you willing to work? What would you say if it was you hanging from a hook for 5 days and nights? Personally, I'd have just said, sure, whatever, get me down. But Q, he's stronger than me.
All the power you had was to say only two words. Actually, one word among yes or no. They just said yes. They just said yes. And when, so me and my teammates, because I had some guys there that we had, that passion of going back home. So we felt like if we show these people that we are not, cowards, that we can take even any risk of dying inside here, maybe they can let us go back home. So we are like, no, we're not getting back to those computers. We said no.
You said no.
These guys laughed,
That's wild.
and they didn't actually believe it that we have said not to go back, to that that life that we were actually fed up of before even, because they felt like now these people in there. Now these people, even though it's harsh in there, 20 hours a day, whatever and everything, they're gonna say yes, because this is better than that. But we said no.
Have a nice day. You're
The
welcome.
truth is that we are
Take care.
almost dying, man.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
So after our other hours, now being punished back because every single second you try to doze, these guys finally knew we are gonna die in this place. They said, get them off the handcuffs. Opening those handcuffs, I thought I could even stand, but putting down the leg, I just fall down like this. So it's the army now that hold me on this hand, and the other guy hold me on this hand to raise me up. Then from the dark room, straight to work.
Oh, man.
I thought these guys are taking us to our containers, maybe to rest, maybe to, to be. Maybe to rest, maybe to, to bring back our brains and everything, but all I saw was, being taken upstairs in that room. Then they sat me on a computer.
You weren't even allowed a shower, like after 5 days of going to...
Without anything, man. Smelling very bad. I couldn't even mind about that at that point. All I was feeling is pain. I sat down, tried to pretend that I'm typing so I don't be punished. But this is when I collapsed.
When Q opened his eyes, he was back in his dormitory on his bed. His clothes were still crusty from 5 days of blood, feces, and urine, and his arms ached, and he smelled terrible. But he was alive. Just.
They told me, man, we thought you are dead. These military people brought you here from the office. We thought you were dead. I asked them, are we still in this place? They said, yeah, man, we are still here. We are just back from work. And just know, you are gonna work. These people, we know these people, they're not gonna leave you to rest. So use this time to rest. But man, I was smelling bad and everything, so I had to, wake up and clean myself. But I couldn't move, so these guys helped me, and I big up on them wherever they were, man. Yeah, my family now. Actually, we are still, looking out to each other, checking on ourselves to see if each other is taking care of themselves. So that's how the dark room was. I was able, to bring my muscles back because I tried to make some exercises out when I got out. Yeah, finally I started working again and got to work afterwards.
Can I ask, do your arms still give you any problems? Like, have your muscles returned to their full functionality?
I would say that this small finger right here still pains me because them putting their handcuffs on this hand like this and on the other hand like this, blood stopped moving. And remember, I tried also to, so I remember I was trying to, to pull. You actually don't try, but it pulls yourself, like you lose that power, So they're still paining me. That's the right thing. I actually had some, bruises around here because those handcuffs cut me very bad here. Actually, the blood to come out as well. But I got some medication, so I'm good right now.
You're lucky that you've got the use of your arm still. I would have thought that 5 days being hung like that off your arms. I would have thought